Greetings and salutations. Second Star right back with some more Raid Shadow Legends, and on screen we have Lady Etessa. Lady Etessa is a epic champion from the Sacred Order faction and is often ignored because she just doesn't seem like she's that good of a champion. Let's just face it. She doesn't seem great. In fact, what triggered me to do this champion guide was a poster commenting in one of my videos said, "Hey, can you take another look at Lady Etessa? I think she's awesome looking. She's one of my favorite looking champions from an aesthetics point of view, but she just seems awful. Is this the case? Is there a use for Lady Etessa?" Well, I figured, why not take a look, right? Whenever I get Lady Etessa, I just kind of groan and throw in my vault and just not worry about it. But you know what? She is worth another look, okay? Because it seems like you said, she's a fantastic looking champion. This armor design is very sleek and elegant, really cool looking. I like her tousled hair, and the crossbow is badass. But what seals the deal, though, is check out this shield. This Arbiter shield is so cool. I mean, talk about this intricate design, and it just really is in keeping with the Sacred Order aesthetic that they have set up, and all the leather boots and the straps, just cool looking. Lady Etessa definitely has a really nice design, and it would be nice if her utility in Raid would match how good she looks, because she's a cool looking champion. So let's go into her skills and see what she brings to the table. Okay, so blessed buffs: attacks an enemy, 25% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Okay, that's cool. It's not the best skill to have on an A1, but it's kind of unique. Not a lot of people have block buffs on A1. So there's that. You can put 4 books into it to increase damage by 20%. It's not super hard hitting, but it's better than some A1s that I've seen, and we'll see that when we go into the dungeons later. Her A2, I have issues with. Now, it synergizes with her A3, but let's just check it out. Attacks an enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Okay, great. You know, a stun is one of the more powerful debuffs in the game. Totally takes out an opponent for the duration of the turn, in this case 1. But still, that's great. It's on a 4-turn cooldown natively, which is okay. And if you want to put in 7 books, you can get that cooldown down to 3 turns, and you can get that 50% chance up to 75% chance. All that's, it's just kind of fine, right? Because Fencer exists. Fencer, I did a guide on her a little bit ago. Her A2 has a 100% chance for a stun and can steal some turn meter. So to have Lady Etessa's, who's an epic and Fencer's a rare, to have her A2 not as good as a rare's A2 is a little bit insulting. I think I don't like it. I think that you can definitely increase this 50% up to a base 75% chance. That would mean if people didn't want to put books in it and just wanted to fly with 75% chance on a 4-turn cooldown, I think that would be better, because right now putting in 7 epic books into this champion is a little bit much, right? And of course I put in more than that because I wanted the Fiend Purge. Her A3 is her selling point. It's her showcase skill, and it's on a 5-turn cooldown natively. I wanted just 1 book, though, gets down to 4 turns. Of course, I had to put in all of these and these, so I put in like 10 books before I actually hit it. You know, Lady Luck was not with me with Lady Etessa, but that's okay. I was able to get it down to the 4-turn cooldown, and I can live with that. It's 10 books, but that kind of sucks for a champion I'm probably not going to use a whole lot, but that's okay. It's all for the benefit of you guys. So Fiend Purge is an all-ally attack. Now, there's only 8 champions in the game that have this skill, and only 2 of them are epics. It's just Lady Etessa and Catacomb Counselor. That's it. There's a couple epics, and there's a couple uncommons actually that have it, and a rare or 2 that have that skill also. But her incarnation of it, if they're under a stun, they get an increased 10% damage if the target's under a stun. And her A2 stuns, so you kind of see how that lines up. So ideally, you want to pair her in a group, in a team composition with maybe other stuns. So we'll see how I went about doing that in a second. Her masteries, I just did, the first 2 tiers to get extra accuracy, get extra crit rate and crit damage. No big deal. Let's see here. Artifacts, typical speed and damage setup. So I have speed, a set of speed, set of crit rate, set of crit damage. She's fast just by herself. She has a base 99 speed, which is pretty good. So I kind of went a little bit overboard. I stacked a whole bunch of speed on her. I don't know why I need to do that. She's actually faster than my debuffer, so generally you don't want to do that, but we're just testing this champion out, giving her a test drive. Not a big deal. I'm not trying to min-max or anything. Okay, and the bling, I went all out, so she's attack and crit damage on her bling. Okay, anything, what else do we have here? Is this crit damage on her speed gauntlets. So yeah, so I definitely went all out to try to maximize her damage. Probably at the expense of her survivability. I definitely have the hit point percentage chest though. 23,000. You can usually survive mid-tier dungeons, up to level 13 or 14 with 23,000 damage if you have halfway decent support. Attack, I'd rather have this around 2,000. This was the best I could do with the gear I had and the silver that I wanted to spend. Speed 175. Crit rate 72%. Crit damage 178. Again, you want 100%. You want 200% here. That's hard to get with 5-star gear. So we're just gonna roll with that for now. Resistance 83, whatever. Accuracy, definitely, if you want to rely on that stun on her A2, you want this higher. But it's fine for what I'm doing right now. You want more accuracy, but again, without like an accuracy banner, sometimes it's hard to get that up and keep all your other skills up. So this is what I can do at this level, so we're just going to roll with it, okay? Alright, so let's take her into Ice Golems. Everyone, I love my Ice Golems. But there's a reason for my madness here, because, once you get to the boss level, stun is useless, right? And stun is one of her signature things that she uses. It's on her A2, it synergizes with her A3. You want to stun. Most bosses don't have the stun component, but she does. Ice Golems does, because of the 2 minions. So that's why I like that dungeon when I go through champion guides. Alright, let me get back. Okay, whoops. Is it working? Okay. Let's see here. Where are we? Okay, so we have Lady Etessa is on the other side. I actually have her in that slot where Silo the Drakes is, but she's on the other side this time. So she's over there. She's in a team with Battle Sage, Lord Chamfort, Gorgorab, and Silo the Drakes. Silo the Drakes has a AoE stun on her A2. Battle Sage has an AoE A1, and she's in a stun set. So there we go. I have 2 AoE stuns available to me on this team to go along with her stun that she has on her A2. So there should be a lot of potential to maximize her A3 on this team. Right, again, though I'm autoing, so it's a little bit more difficult to make it all work all the time. But the ability to keep the stun up on the left minion there, or the right minion, depending on how you look at it, the heal down minion that's so irritating, is pretty decent on this team. We do a pretty good job of it, pretty good job of controlling him most of the time. There is an issue though with the way that Lady Etessa utilizes her A3. Her ally attack, she always targets the boss. Okay, so even though you or I might want to get rid of one of the minions first, or maybe we want to make sure she doesn't use a devastating attack like an A3 using everyone's A1 against the boss in Ice Golems, because if it crosses that damage threshold, where he triggers his Frigid Vengeance, when both his minions are up, you can wipe your team, right? And that has happened a couple times with Lady Etessa insisting on targeting the boss instead of targeting a minion. I get it, because it's a high damage attack, and it deals a lot of damage to the boss, but in Ice Golems that can be fatal. In fact, I used to run with Husk. Before I put in Silo the Drakes, I was like, well, Husk has, an AoE stun on his A2. So I used Husk for a bit, but his is based on max enemy hit point damage. So I would have the same problem, where he would just do too much damage to the boss at the wrong time and would wipe my team. So this is a tricky dungeon to use, high damage attacks on auto, max enemy hit points attacks on auto. It just can be tough, because you can end up wiping your whole team. So fortunately, on this run, that doesn't happen. Everything kind of goes according to plan. I'm loving all the stuns. The stuns, it makes everything so much easier. I mean, you saw I was blabbing, but you saw as I was taking as we were getting here, it took no time whatsoever, because we utilized extra turns, because our opposition couldn't go. They couldn't take a turn because they were stunned. So we got to go multiple times before they did, and it was awesome. Okay, now, oh, and another addition is this team has Gorgorab with an AoE res. We have Sile of the Drakes with a res, and we have Battle Sage who has kind of like a Phoenix down res, like I have right here on Lady Etessa. It just went away, but we have 3-turn possibility of reviving when Battle Sage puts it on someone. Phoenix down for all you Final Fantasy fans out there. So it really does make things super easy. I know I have 2 legendaries on the team, and I generally don't like to do that because I really kind of target my content for mid-tier people that aren't, farming everything already. So I don't necessarily like to have a lot of legendaries. I like to have a lot of kind of regular champions. But Silent Drakes is a free champion you get on your 180-day login. So I figured, we can work with that a little bit. All right, so you saw her A1. They do around between 12 and 15,000 damage. Her A1, depending on what buffs are available to her at the time. Defense downs, attack ups, whatever. That's kind of her range on A1. So it's not bad. It's not bad. I've seen worse. I've seen better. All right, so and we finished this in 4.5 minutes. It's fine. It's fine, right? And she maxed the DPS chart, as a showcase champion should when you're trying to get them through some content. Again, this is only stage 14, and of course I chose stage 14 instead of stage 13 because of the affinity. This is the affinity advantage as opposed to a disadvantage that they have with 13. And I choose 13 and 14 because it's the first one that gets 6-star gear. 13 and 14 are your first possibilities to get 6-star gear. So when you're farming and you only have level 50s, maybe you have one level 60 that you use for your campaign farm or whatever to take in, these are stages that you can finish pretty consistently with good team composition. And you can get yourself some better gear so you can get to the higher levels of dungeons. All right, because I get a hard time for people saying, well, your content's all mid-tier. I'm like, well, someone's got to do it, right? Not everyone can be, 8-second spider farming. Sorry, guys, not for everybody. Okay, so let's go into Dragon, and this time I do have Husk. Husk is a bit safer in Dragon than he is in Ice Golems. All right, so now we have some AoE stuns going on with Battle Sage and her stun gear. We have Husk laying down the occasional AoE with his A2, and of course we have Lady Etessa and Lord Champfort here in Gorgorab. Alright, so what do we have here? Is this me or is this going kind of slow? It seems to be going kind of slow. Hang on a second. Yep, I have it at 80%. Okay, this is a bit faster. Anyway, this team composition is good for Dragon because of the max enemy hit points that Husk brings with his A2 is good on the boss fight. Again, it's stun heavy, and that's worthless in the boss fight. But to get there, stuns are super nice. One of the stuns, freezes are 2 of the best debuffs you can get when you're trying to just get through the stages to get to a boss fight. It's absolutely excellent to have that stuff available to you. Let's just skip to the end. Alright, so we'll see how did we do. Okay, so again, Lady Etessa kept up pace with Husk doing AoEs and enemy max hit point damage. So you'd think that he would kind of come up on the DPS chart at number 1, but he's hit point based champion, so there's some wiggle room there. Lady Etessa on her attack, she did good. We finished this in 258, and this is stage 13. Again, all level 50s, so that's what we expect. Definitely did not do a bad job whatsoever. And then let's go into see how much damage we can squeeze out of her. We'll get some extra crit damage bump from what's his face there? The guy from the Battle Pass. I don't remember his name at the top of my head. Wyrim, something like that. Okay. All right. And are we set yet? No. We had to come back around because she was too fast. Okay, so there we go. Let's see how her A2 does against this guy in the end here. Alright, anytime now. Alright, so 52,000. Alright, so with did she even have an attack up on that? I think it had attack up and then expired. It had attack up, she had a crit damage up, he had a weaken and defense down, 52,000. So that's kind of what you expect on the high end of her A2. All right, so there we go. That is Lady Etessa. I think that she is not as bad a champion as people say. In fact, think about Catacomb Counselor, who's the only other champion that has all ally attack, who's also an epic. A lot of people really like Catacomb Counselor, right? He has an A1 that increases his damage by 25%. He has a heal on his A2, and then he has all ally attack on his A3. I kind of think that Lady Etessa's skill set is better than Catacomb Counselor's. So if Catacomb Counselor is viewed kind of in a favorable light by the community, I think Lady Etessa deserves another look, right? She is useless in spiders, all right? She's okay in Fire Knight, right? The joint ally attack in Fire Knight is good if you're on manual. Can kind of be dicey if you're running out on auto, but kind of like with Longbeard. Longbeard is sometimes great in Fire Knight and sometimes it stinks in Fire Knight. It kind of just depends on your RNG. And I think that Lady Etessa is probably the same way. She wouldn't be my first choice for Fire Knight, but she could probably get you through it. So if you like Catacomb Counselor, you should like Lady Etessa too. I mean, you really should. I think she actually has a better skill set than Catacomb Counselor does. And why not use them together? So you can take them into Arena. That'd be fun. You can have a team of, let's say, Longbeard or Hyria and Catacomb Counselor and Lady Etessa. That'd be fun, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm glad that I was prompted to take another look at this champion, because Lady Etessa is not as bad as I had thought. She's, again, not a top tier champion, but she has a skill set that is very rare and very, very niche. But having that all ally attack is a super worthwhile. If you can get some champions with a really cool A1s, then there maybe even find a use for an extra use for Necro Hunter, right, who has a defense down on his A1. Like you see my Battle Sage with the AoE A1 with a stun set. Really, really cool. A lot of versatility, because you're utilizing, all these different people's A1s in your attack, and it's an awesome bonus. So Lady Etessa, not as bad as people make her out to be. She's actually pretty decent. Maybe not good everywhere. Maybe her skills could use a little bit of buffing, especially that A2, but not as bad a champion as I had originally thought. And if she was one of the only epics that I had, I would not be afraid of building her, especially with the utility coming from her A1, where I can choose other champions in a team comp to complement each other more readily using A1s every 3 turns. Not bad at all. So that's my my review of Lady Etessa. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, throw me a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any thoughts or suggestions. Guys, I appreciate it. You guys take care, have fun, and I will see you next time.